my god, man, I am fucking like knocked out with like a cold. Holy shit! Good thing I'm not playing a fighting game today, right? But what's up, my homies? It's the Khaiza, and you guessed it, with like this layout, we are going to be doing another review, right? For a Kamen Rider Super Sentai show, right? So where's that fucking Toku alert? I'm like, fuck, man, where's that Toku alert? Where's that shit? There it is. It is Toku time, right? And what better way to start off our Toku time than with the most infamous fucking with the most infamous movie to come out for our Tokusatsu delight is Shin Kamen Rider, right? I got like my shirt and everything. I got my Kamen Rider shirt and with all like the drivers and shit, starting from like Ichigo all the way to Saber down here, made by Hideaki Anno, right? And Hideaki Anno, whom you may be familiar with, did other movies, right? Did other movies of our Tokusatsu history, and he did Neon Genesis Evangelion, a remake slash reboot movie to the original series, and he did Shin Ultraman. He did Shin Ultraman, and he also did Shin Godzilla, which, you know, Shin Godzilla already coming out with a prequel movie set in the World War II era of Japan. So this is the latest movie that came out from Hideaki Anno, and a lot of Kamen Rider fans were honestly saying like they had like a good time, right? This Shin Kamen Rider movie does so many fucking like callbacks to the OG series of Kamen Rider with Takeshi Hongo, right? Who is the original Kamen Rider, and he is the infamous Sega Saturn guy. For those that don't know the Sega Saturn guy, let me just show you, right? And that's him, Hiroshi Fujioka, right? He's an infamous actor. He started like acting in the 70s. He was born in 1946, mind you. He is like an old ass man, right? In 2023. Segata Sanshiro. Fucking Toria. He beat up the baseball kids. Wonder if it has like, dude, Gata Sanshiro. Yeah, right. Kamen Rider Ichigo is played by the Sega Saturn actor Hiroshi Fujioka, and he was the main like spokesperson for the Sega Saturn, right? But for this new like Hideaki Anno verse, right, they casted a different like new gen like actors for the infamous like role, right? Which is a good thing, right? Like this is like a retelling of Kamen Rider, and how did like Kamen Rider Ichigo become like the infamous Kamen Rider starting from 1971 to now, right? This movie's runtime is 2 hours long, right? It came out on Amazon Prime, and me as like a Toku fan have been eagerly anticipating the release of this Shin Kamen Rider movie, and I gotta say, so far the Shin Kamen Rider movie was pretty good, right? It did all of like the nostalgia for the Shin Kamen Rider verse, right? Right, let me look up like the actors for the Shin Kamen Rider movie, right? All of them are like, you know, completely fucking new. Sosuke Ikematsu, Minami Tasuku Emoto, right? Completely like new actors. So that's a good thing, right? But it was an enjoyable time, like through and through, right? I kind of like dug it, right? And what it all essentially is like it's a retelling of Kamen Rider Ichigo, just with like new characters and like new like lore to it, right? You still have Shocker, you still have Kamen Rider Ichigo and Nigo. That is an actual name, right? Because, you know, the literal translation of 1 and 2 is Ichi and 2 is Ni. So everybody calls the second Kamen Rider after like Ichigo is Nigo. And that's not racist at all. Oh man. Fuck. But overall, like this movie was pretty good, right? I will say it is a good showing for 2 hours and like a minute, right? The only thing that I will say, like without spoilers, is like the pacing, or like, you know, how things like flow like in the movie, right? The pacing in some parts of the movie can be kind of off balance, right? Like, why is this scene the way it is like in here in this scene when it could have been like in a totally like different spot, right? And of course there were like, you know, some like still like camera like shots that was like kind of like meh. I guess it's like, again, like to recapture the fucking camera styles of the 1971 drama, right? And Kamen Rider, Shin Kamen Rider is pretty much a drama from the get-go, from beginning to end, right? There was like, you know, a little bit of like lightheartedness here and there, right? But for the most part, it is, you know, the struggle of Kamen Rider Ichigo, because without like going into the spoilers, everybody knows like the premise of the original like Kamen Rider, right? Some dude named Takeshi Hongo is abducted by a mad science criminal organization called Shocker, and they brainwashed him to be like this, like, you know, soldier of chaos, soldier of evil, right? To do the bidding of Shocker. But Takeshi Hongo's conscience like grew and defied Shocker, right? And that's like the theming of like, you know, Kamen Riders, is that, you know, Kamen Riders are who they are because they paid a price toll. They paid like, you know, the payroad cost, right, of $1 like 50 if you go to the NJ like Turnpike or shit like that, right? Or $8.95. They paid like the toll road cost, right? Not actual like money, of course, right? But the toll for Kamen Riders is that there's always like a price like to give, right? And in Kamen Rider, and in this Shin Kamen Rider's case, is that, you know, he's a brainwashed soldier. He's got like this like immense power at his disposal to take care of the Shocker troops and generals, but he doesn't want to kill, right? Ichigo is all about, you know, preserving himself, doesn't want to kill. He doesn't want to be like a soldier of violence. He wants to step away from like all of the violence. And I'm pretty sure that was like a similar resonance with like the original like drama show. I have not seen the original 1971. I'll be down to like watch like a few like couple of episodes, but this is like me without like the knowledge of Kamen Rider Ichigo, without watching, you know, the OGest of OG shows. So my experience is totally new and blind to this, right? I do, however, appreciate like the nods that, you know, make Kamen Rider Ichigo so well known and infamous, right? whenever it plays like the theme song, like you know, like that theme is like super impressive, like, you know, now, because you actually know where it's like from, right? If you're a Kamen Rider fan. I mean, of course, you know, would a casual Joe Schmo like watch Kamen Rider Ichigo? Hell no. This is very much ingrained in Kamen Rider history. It's for those who have, you know, grew up like as like maybe like a boomer in the 1920s. Well, then again, that's like past boomer or some shit like that. But if you had like, if you're a boomer and had like parents that like, back in my day in the 1910s, we watched Tom and Jerry. Fucking, that's what this movie, like, you know, rides like the coattails of, is that, man, there's gonna be Kamen Rider fans, especially now, like in the woodwork, that appreciate Kamen Rider, and they've been watching Kamen Rider Ichigo before the release of this movie, and they will get all like the nods and references like to AT. Yeah, that's fine. But that's all like the outside like spoiler stuff. Spoiler stuff now, we can actually like get into like the big spoilers, is that, you know, I think I teased it earlier, is that, you know, Takeshi Hongo was like, you know, a former like brainwashed soldier of Shocker, but now like fights in the name of like justice. And the whole like, you know, plot catch, like the whole fish catch of like the movie is like your side character, your side piece character, your woman, right, that travels around with you, and their like shtick, and her like shtick is that she is a former Shocker scientist turned like rogue and defies Shocker, right? She wants to get away from it all, even though she has like affiliations with them. And Kamen Rider Ichigo is just like this like normal dude that became part of Shocker by chance, and has to like rescue this girl while dealing with like the internal turmoil that he has, is that his pacifist fucking nature, which is, you know, I watched this with my friends, and it was with like with Frankleton, with Zin, with Amazing, with Crack Rock Steady. Like, my man James did not like this pacifist boy. Did not like Kamen Rider Ichigo just complaining about like, oh, I killed somebody, you know, right? And I get that, you know, resentment, right? Because again, this is like one of the themes of, you know, Kamen Rider, right? The price of a Kamen Rider is like, you know, what does gaining like all this immense power like do to like the emotions of the Kamen Rider, right? And for Takeshi Hongo's case, in this like Shin Kamen Rider movie, is that, you know, he gained all this power. He doesn't want to be a murderer. He doesn't want to kill all these like, you know, well, soldiers that were like, you know, coerced. And well, I wouldn't say coerced for like the troopers, right? Yeah, they joined Shocker by volition. They joined by choice, right? And even like the spider like augments, right? And Takeshi Hongo is, through the process of the Kamen Riderification, is like a hopper augment. So his kicks are good, his punches are really like beefy, right? This man is fucking juiced. This man is fucking juiced, right? But like Takeshi Hongo's like eternal like struggle gets him like into trouble a lot of times, right? He doesn't want to like, you know, be a murderous fucking like psychopath, but his inability to like, you know, accept that holds him back. Which actually like costed him like the loss of his like female like best friend. And the female best friend is like, you know, the the plot carrier of the movie, because she is a rogue Shocker member that defected, but has like a brother that is in Shocker and wants to and the brother wants to get rid of all of the humans. All of the humans on Earth. Right, which is like, I never always understood that for like villains. It's like, why always get rid of like the villains, right? Ugh, shit. But oh yes, that's right, because you know the brother of Ruriko, right? He wants to like eliminate mankind because you know he's a spiteful little bitch that his mother was taken away from him in a fucking like accident, was murdered randomly. Oh my god. Yeah, like the whole like plot of the movie, and they give like these like cool like little bits of like lore, right? Which is like what Kamen Rider does, is that not just like, you know, the action, which I'll be like in a sub tangent, right? The action for Kamen Rider is really like spot on. It's questionable at some like fights later on, like in the movie. Like there was a fight with Takeshi Hongo and there was like a Hornet augment, and there was like a super like fast fight. Like I was like literally watching like a Flash versus like Superman like fight. It's not like a speedster battle, but the way she was like moving made it feel like a fucking like DC film. Like cheese rice. But some of like the other battles, like Ichigo fighting like the Bat augment, fighting like, you know, clone soldiers of himself. There was like a motorcycle like chase scene, and then there was like the fight with you know, another Kamen Rider, which is Nigo, and Nigo is like a funny fucking character, right? He's like the most charismatic polar opposite of Kamen Rider Ichigo, where like, you know, he is a newcomer to Shocker, but he has like so much like personality that it just like exudes off of him, and that he's like the light in the in this like Kamen Rider movies like universe, right? He's talkative, like he's like a mouther, like not like Deadpool status where he like, you know, breaks like the fourth wall, but he likes to liven up like the party wherever like he can, you know. But throughout like the course of the plot, what's up? Yeah, Kamen Rider Nigo is like the craziest like character that I've ever seen. Like literally, it's like another trope about like Kamen Rider shows, is that what was it? When you get like a second character for like your rider show, he becomes like the polar opposite, right? Like Super Sentai's do it, is that you get like a sixth extra ranger, or like Power Rangers or Super Sentai, you get like another like extra ranger in your Power Ranger squad, and he is like the polar opposite of like, you know, what the crew is all about. For example, right, Go Kaiser, the infamous pirate squad in Japan, they're nothing but like hardcore pirates. A few of them are eccentric, but like they're hardcore pirates that literally like go all out, and they don't care about, you know, anything else but, you know, getting their treasure and attaining their dreams. And then you have like the Sixth Ranger, that's this total Josh bro. Like, I love humanity. I'll love taking care of people, because that's, you know, that's good. That's humanly good. And then the Red Ranger is like, eh, I'm a badass. I'm a Chad. I'll do what I want. You know? And the Sixth Ranger, you know, changes like the perspective of the main rider, right? And they get along, right? Same thing with like this movie, right? Even though, right, towards the end of Shin Kamen Rider, Takeshi Hongo sacrifices himself to kill Ruriko, the main chick's brother, right? Because, you know, she died by, you know, the hybrid augment, which is like the chameleon and mantis augment. Yeah, ultimately he got killed. There were like a few fights, right? Like there was the bat augment that Hongo fights, the hornet augment. There was the scorpion augment that was there only for like a little bit, and that's where like I find issue with like the pacing of, you know, this Shin Kamen Rider movie, is that you have like shots of like, you know, this next villain that Hongo is gonna face, and specifically this scorpion villain, badass like female villain, just mopping house with like, you know, some good guy troopers, until she got like subdued off screen, took like her blood, used it as like you know, a poison, and used it on the next augment, which is like a hornet augment that Hongo like fights, right? But yeah, like the Kamen Rider movie, you know, of course has like a lot of action, but also like weird like pacing issues. The theme, the thematics, or the core of like Kamen Rider, like, you know, is there, right? You know, the fucking emotional crisis like dilemma. Oh god, my eyes. I keep rubbing my eyes when I'm cold. Wow. Is that Hongo has like this like eternal dilemma that like he can't figure out, which, you know, the most weirdest way, and that's another thing about like the pacing, is that, you know, the most weirdest way possible, but also the most funniest way possible, that Hongo cures his like, you know, depression of like being a murderous like psychopath. This like good guy organization, the Anti-Shocker Alliance, led by like two Japanese men in suits. Yo, they tell Hongo, yo, do a backflip. Hongo does a backflip. I'm better now. Now I'm ready to fight. Fucking, that's what he does. That's what he does in that movie. Like, bro. Fucking god. But toward the end, they subdue Ruriko's brother, both Kamen Rider Ichigo and Nigo. But the brother becomes like gets more power by becoming like an augment himself, and he's close to like finishing his plan, until like Hongo steps up into the ring and just suicides with sacrifices himself with the brother, and they both die, and all that's left is Nigo. And he even says, it's like, I'm alone. Like, I don't have anyone that's like my equal. And okay. Now Nigo is just like a vagabond, like rider, you know, protecting the justice and ideals of Kamen Rider Ichigo, and, you know, with a smile on his face, and gets like a cool ass like scarf and trench coat, you know? But yeah, like Kamen Rider Ichigo is like a fun movie, right? It is fun, right? Again, weird like pacing, like plot issues that came about like during the movie, but all in all, like if you're there like for the action, then yeah, that's a really like fun time. Just like seeing Kamen Rider Ichigo throw down with like dudes was like the cool, most interesting parts of that movie. It made like, you know, watching that movie more like worthwhile because of like the crazy like combat that you can do, right? And of course, you know, it's awesome because of the fucking nostalgia that comes with Shin Kamen Rider, right? Just seeing like Kamen Rider on like a big screen outside of Japan in a Western release was exhilarating. I know Frank, Jerry, and Zin watched the movie in theaters, and they had a really good time. But some action scenes like in a theater were not really, you know, that impressive because some scenes were like shot in the dark, like dead ass like dark. So people can't make out what they were like doing, apparently, right? But I had like the privilege of watching it on like Amazon Prime, right? I couldn't go to like the theaters because, you know, my grandma was in the hospital at that time and I couldn't like make any plans to do that, you know? But all in all, it was a fun movie. It was a fun time. Like, if you like Kamen Rider, this is a movie for you. If you didn't like it, then if you're just like objectively watching it with like no information at all, then this movie is going to be an extreme like miss because you are not going to get the Kamen Rider motifs like to a T, and it's going to be hard to like keep up. And also, like, one thing about like the movie that's like it's a con is like there's a lot of like exposition, right? There's a lot of dudes just talking and talking and talking. I mean, that's like Kamen Rider, right? Like, I watch like Geats right now, and Geats is like, you know, equal amounts of like talking with like lore building, but also an equal amounts of like insane action, and the action is good, but I like the lore that it's like setting up. Right, even though like the pacing of Geats can be questionable like at times towards the later end, like especially like now, but you know, I still like Geats, you know, for what it is, right? Despite like some of its like narrative flaws, right, and the decisions that the executive staff behind Geats is making, it's still like a fun show. And that's like what Kamen Rider is, right? You know, not every like Kamen Rider show can be as perfect as, you know, Kamen Rider W or Kamen Rider Drive, right? We hate on it, right? There are like some shows that I, you know, don't like. Like, I was like super amped up like in the beginning, but like fell off like toward like the end. Kamen Rider Zeo was like one of them, right? It fell off for me because, you know, the real villain wasn't the future self of the main protagonist. No, it was some other antagonist, right? That shit, like, you know, fucked me over. Like, I hated that. I don't know why they changed it like that, you know. That was like the whole you know, MO for like the first like 10 episodes. But at least like Kamen Rider, Shin Kamen Rider did like a good job just like highlighting like, you know, the action, the camera shots to make it feel like the 1971 movie with some modern like takes. So it was good. I liked it, you know. I would like watch it on a rewatch, you know, because like it's the one Kamen Rider movie in modern times that's not, you know, Ryuki, that's not 01, right? That's the one modern that is the one Kamen Rider what was it, series that is from modern times, but not like, you know, not like man, I'm like drawing blanks here. Not like the whole like roster of Kamen Riders. There's only like selectively few that they can publicly like show to the US. You would have to like go to like places like Tokuzilla or some shit like that. But all in all, I give like Kamen Rider, Shin Kamen Rider like an 8.5 out of 10. Right, it's good. It's got great action scenes. Like, it's got cool characters here and there across the board. It's got funny scenes of like levity here and there. even though like it's built on like the Kamen Rider shtick of that being like a drama and that everything's like super shitty. but I'll give Kamen Rider, you know, for what it is, and that it's a Kamen Rider, and you know, it's a fun like time to watch.